Good afternoon. The Committee on Water and Land is on its hearing notice of March 27th, and these are resolutions we're going to hear in room 229, and just some housekeeping measures. We also want to say that those who are testifying, if you can limit your testimony to a minute as well, not counting any testifiers. If you have questions from any of the members of the committee, we'll disregard the 1 minute discussion. The contact of this hearing can be found on the legislature's website. The live video stream and archive of this hearing is on the Senate's YouTube channel, and decision-making will occur after we hear from all the testifiers. We are on the hearing notice with our members who will be here soon. We have many activities happening at the Capitol today, but we'll proceed. SCR 203 and SR 179. This is requesting the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development to inventory and map existing R1 water delivery systems and reservoirs in Maui County. DLNR. Good afternoon, Dean.
Good afternoon, Chair. Dean Ueno, Acting Deputy Director for the Commission on Water Resource Management. Just want to acknowledge the intent of the measure, and we provided comments as in our testimony, and we're available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for being here. Alice Lee, the Chair of County of Maui, sends communication in support, as well as Jacqueline Ambrose, an individual in support. Is there anyone wishing to speak on SCR 203 and SR 179? Please come up. Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha. Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Arthur Buto. I'm from the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. I apologize. I had submitted testimony through our legislative system, and it got misdirected somehow. So if I may, I'll just read my testimony. Please. Chair Inouye, Vice Chair Elefante, and members of the Senate Committee on Water and Land, the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development appreciates the intent of SCR 203 and its companion SR 179 requesting OPSD to inventory and map existing R1 water delivery systems and reservoirs in Maui County. OPSD offers the following comments. The statewide GIS program in OPSD regularly gathers data from federal, state, and county agencies and makes more than 400 data layers available to the public through its geospatial open data portals. However, some agency data is intentionally not shared with OPSD due to the sensitivity of the data or because of security concerns. The R1 delivery systems data from Maui County and the regulated and non-regulated dams data from DLNR fall into this category. To the extent that sensitivity and security concerns can be addressed, OP and OPSD can complete the subject inventory and mapping as requested. As an alternative, is to request that the R1 water delivery systems and reservoirs in Maui County are included in the non-public critical infrastructure system currently being planned by the Office of Homeland Security and the Department of Law Enforcement. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. And I'll be available for questions.
I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Arthur.
Arthur.
Yeah.
Okay, back to your, I'm sorry, I kind of missed a little of the, when you explained about the inventory you did, but also I think Senator McKelvey just walked in and probably missed part of his testimony. And it was rather interesting that we've heard something different from testimonies with regards to what OPSD is doing. Can you kind of summarize?
Sure.
Yeah, for Senator.
So
yeah.
I'm from the statewide GIS program. I manage the statewide GIS program, and it's part of our regular operations. This is sort of what we do, is we collect data from agencies and kind of do some QA/QC and then make it available to the public. But not all agencies share data with us, and not all agencies share all their data with us. In fact, some agencies share data with us under certain conditions that we won't share it with the public or that will suppress certain attributes. So to the extent that the County of Maui will share the R1 water delivery systems, and DLNR will, and other sources will share their reservoirs and dams. We can do what
So
resolution
we
requires.
would to change it to urging them to work with you on doing this study, right?
Sure. And to a large extent, we work with the counties and
Yeah, that's what I mean.
other state
No
agencies pretty
sense
well.
reinventing the wheel,
Yeah.
right? And so, I mean, that sounds like you're kind of advising.
What I'm trying to say is that, if there's sensitive data, specifically with the water delivery systems, the county may not want to share everything, or they may put some restrictions on how it can be shared. So to the extent that we can make stuff available, because if we do an inventory and report, it's going to be public. So to the extent that they're willing to share something that's going to be shared with the public, we can do that.
Well, I think part of it too is also trying to identify what future specific projects can be costed out and looked at as far as enhancing what's there or developing new ones, right? So, but I understand what you're saying because of Homeland Security aspects of infrastructure protection.
So they're putting that system together now, and they're getting all the stakeholders together. So this might be something that they're already working on. I don't really know.
But it's kind of interesting, though, that at this point in time and at this age where we are with regards to what's happening in with wildfires and other incidences, that history always told us that any time that the counties work on any infrastructure developments, including water, it's always public. And so, because when the counties initiate any projects, they have to make it public. And so, when they do projects, who they hire, the contractor, and when they develop the system, it has to be public. But I'm kind of curious where Homeland Security would not allow for the public to know what's happening in infrastructure developments, because it all goes to the public sector and the private sector. I mean, our residents, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, I can't
How-
speak for the county or the.
Yeah, and the county has been
environmental
pretty good
management.
because they're using tax dollars, to create
Yeah.
the infrastructure.
With respect to Homeland Security, there might be some security concerns around around mapping that so that anybody can see on a public map where that infrastructure is.
Or
But
if it's
but I agree
very-
with her though. I mean, the main things that you would use for an R1 study would be public knowledge anyway, because it's a public project, with full-on public comment periods and specifications and everything else.
Sure.
Yeah, but thanks for sharing that with you, because you do GIS for all the counties, I'm sure, and within the state,
To be
if they
clear,
ask.
we don't do their GIS. They have their own GIS agencies.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
But
yeah, you're from
we work with
PSD.
them, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So
We
you're-
work
With the
them
state, yeah.
closely, pretty
Yeah.
closely.
Yeah.
We have a good relationship with them too. so.
Right. Okay, any further questions of other, thanks for coming and thanks for
I
sharing.
apologize for not having the,
No problem.
testimony.
That's what hearings are all about, and thanks for being available. Okay, is there anyone else wishes to speak to SCR 203 and SR 179? We'll go through SCR 215 and SR 192, requesting DLNR to collaborate with federal, state, and county governments, landowners, and stakeholders to protect, restore, and manage the West Maui wetlands and wetlands statewide. Okay. DLNR, who's speaking for DLNR today? Afshin? Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Aloha, Heather McMillan.
You're Heather. Okay.
Standing in for Afshin, who couldn't
Okay.
be here today. I'm from DLNR, and we stand on our written testimony in support.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for being available. Jacqueline Ambrose sends communication in support. Is there anyone else wishes to speak to SCR 215 and SR 192? Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed with SCR 216 and SR 191. This is urging the Department of Land and Natural Resources to require all certified arborists in its employ to adhere to industry best practices. Okay, Heather, are you back up here again? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather McMillan from DLNR. We stand on our written testimony and support with some comments. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Outdoor Circle. Okay, Outdoor Circle on Zoom, IT?
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, they sent testimony in support, and I was hoping they would be available because they're one of the biggest advocates for arborists and the industry throughout the state. Jacqueline Ambrose in support. Is there anyone else wishes to speak to SCR 216 and SR 191? We'll proceed with SCR 225 and SR 201. This is urging the Division of Boating and Ocean Recreation of the Department of Land and Natural Resources to use job order contracting for boating and ocean recreation facility maintenance and repair. Okay, Dobar, got Megan here today. Thank you for being patient with us. Thanks for your presence.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. Megan Stats, the Assistant Administrator for the Division of Boating and Ocean Recreation. The department will stand on its written testimony offering comments. Thank you.
You know, since you're up here, can you tell me, okay, when we talk about the job order contracting, what's the difference with putting out an RFP to do a job, or does it pertain to the cost of the project?
So this concurrent reso is talking about using the JOC. For us, we're doing state parks, DOBOR, and working with engineer to do this pre-qualified contractor, which is exactly, it's similar to what a JOC is, where you basically hire or have a number of contractors, say, you know, approximately 15 to 20, and you can pick from either one of any of those companies. And so you have the ability to not have to go out to Hypro. They're all pre-qualified. There's already set prices. You can get bids within that list of contractors. But what it allows us to do is to offer repair and maintenance projects out quicker than having to go through the Hypro process that we've been going out with in the last 10, 20 years.
So, but you've been using it a lot for the small boat harbors.
Right, we've been doing RFPs for the small boat harbors. We are working with engineering and state parks to finalize this pre-qualified contractor system so we can get that in
Yes,
place.
you don't have the PCC implemented yet, though.
Not as of yet.
Okay,
We
yeah.
started
So it
working
hasn't
on
been
it.
implemented yet.
Right,
RFP
we're-
is different from what
Yeah.
a PCC would be. I mean, the idea is to use JOCs, you know, because of the success it was having in R&M in Maui and other facilities. might
Right.
be a thing. But your PCC is slightly different. In the JOCs, you have like the master contractor overseeing all the other contractors that are on that pre-qualified list, right? So
Yeah.
you would be overseeing it directly instead of having that master in place.
Right, it would be the engineering branch would oversee the entire contract. And we're trying to figure out with the deputy AG's office, is it one contract? Is it separate contracts with every single contractor that we have? But what it, again, it's similar to the JOC where we oversee it and they can hire their own subcontractors if they need to, as long
Yeah.
as they're approved to do the repair and maintenance project.
Hopefully it can be under one global contract, so you have that flexibility, right? You just
Well,
don't do
I was going to add to that too, Senator, as well. For all the other small boat harbors that they oversee, well, this is generic anyway.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
generic
not-
to
yes.
everybody. It's just
So-
saying, hey, use it as a good tool for us.
So this would be actually a good tool if we can do that for your big projects, like what we're experiencing at our Hilo Harbor with making sure, because, you know, that Hilo Harbor's issue is so different from some of the other small boat harbors, like comparing to Lahaina is because we have the ocean surfs and the weather pattern that pushes all the sands from the ocean into the entry of the small boat harbor in Hilo. And so if we can do that consistently,
Well, I think
You
the
know,
systemic dredging thing that's in the budget,
well, we do have a bill that's moving, hopefully
it's in the
pass.
Senate version of the budget too.
Yeah, well, that'll be great.
Right, this
Because
could-
we need to help the department if we don't give them the resources to move projects along and only do it when there's an emergency, which doesn't help the boating community and doesn't help the department because they're forced to wait until a CIP appropriation is
Well, yeah,
happening.
that's why this PCC, which would be their version of JOPS, is a good thing, because this is about all the lump, some funded R&M that needs to be done, which the users obviously impacts them, the small things, right? To get them, you have this pool of contractors all ready to go, and ideally, they can just go ahead and out and service and work directly with the users.
So going back to the question of Hilo Harbor, we don't have to do an EIS, right, or assessment?
For the dredging?
For the dredging, every
No.
time we do, we
No.
don't, right? Because
No.
I think we did one earlier when I was here in the early 2000. But I think it's, our issue is the Corps of Engineers.
Well, and on the clean water
That-
branch, right, too, you have to do that ore sampling.
That's
of
what
this-
happens with their permitting system is much faster though.
Right, yeah, and we are working, Senator, in regards
Yes.
to Wailoa.
Right.
We have submitted the Army Corps
Right. got your
permits
report.
already, and we have hired the contractor
Yes.
to start the design and permitting process.
Okay, contractor already hired then?
Yes.
So we don't.
Just a
hopefully
couple
we
days
don't
ago.
have- Okay, good, thanks.
Yes.
We don't have to wait till July.
Fingers crossed, we're moving as quickly as we possibly can, and the Army Corps has been great, saying that they're
Well,
going to
I'm
be
glad they
working
heard
on the permits.
everybody. I'm happy and thanks for pushing them along as well.
Sure.
But, you know, if you hear that they would take about 5 to 7 months to do a project after the state comes in and give them the project, oh my God. And then the sand, I mean, those who live.
Well, that's been our
you know,
dredging situation with Lion and Mala forever, right? Which is why I'm bullish on the funding in the bill for the strategic dredging plan, because also asset of the vendors, making sure they're there to
Yeah.
service.
Yeah. And it only can be done if we provide the resources. Thank you so much, Megan,
You're
for being
welcome.
here. Any
Thank
further
you.
questions with regards to SCR 225? Jacqueline Ambrose has sent testimony in support, as well as Lelihua Ewan, and she comes, I'm sure, she's a Hilo resident and in support of this measure as well. Anyone else wishes to speak to SCR 225 and SR 201? Hearing none. Members, any questions with regards to any of the advocates who are here now? Otherwise, chairs will go into decision-making. Excuse me, Brad, I think. Brad, can I have my DM? Sorry, we probably make some changes already. Okay. All right, members of the Water and Land Committee is going into decision-making on its Wednesday, March 27th hearing notice on SCR 203 and SR 179. Chair's recommendation is to pass with the amendments to include Maui County as part of the request to inventory and map existing R1 water delivery systems and reservoir in Maui County. And we'd like to amend the title to reflect the previous amendment as well. Any discussion on this measure? Okay, hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair goes aye.
Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments SCR 203 and SR 179. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Chang? Aye. Senator McKelvey?
Yes.
Senator Favela?
Aye.
Madam Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. SCR 215 and SR 192 is, a recommendation is to pass with the amendments, just adopting technical and non-substantive amendments. Any discussion on this measure? Hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair goes aye.
Okay, Chair's recommendations to pass with amendments SCR 215 and SR 192. Of the 5 members present, any no votes or votes of reservations? Hearing none, Madam Chair, recommendations adopted.
Okay, thank you. So SCR 216 and SR 191, and this measure is with regards to the arborists and adhering to industry best practice. Chair's recommendation is to pass with the amendments to clarify that the certified arborist in this resolution also refers to contractors. And we'd like to clarify that best practices means following the American National Standards Institute A300 tree care standards and to adopt technical and non-substantive amendments. Any discussions on this measure? Okay, hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair goes aye.
Chair's recommendations to pass with amendments SCR 216 and SR 191. Of the members present, any no votes or votes of reservations? Hearing none, Madam Chair, recommendations adopted.
Okay, on SCR 225 and SR 201, Chair's recommendation that we pass this measure as is. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair goes aye.
Okay, Chair's recommendations to pass unamended SCR 225 and SR 201. Of the 5 members present, any no votes or votes of reservations? Hearing none, Madam Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you very much. This concludes the Committee on Water and Land on its 1 p.m. agenda. Thank you, folks.
Yeah.
My members are still here. Okay.
Okay, everybody, aloha, welcome to the joint hearing between government operations and our friends on water and land. We have one resolution to look at together this afternoon, but before we do that, we are convened in room 229. Meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. In the unlikely event we have to abruptly end this hearing due to technical difficulties, the committees will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business at 3:01 p.m. Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024 in conference room 225. And a public notice will be posted on the legislature's website, and a 2-minute testimony time limit will be in place for this hearing. Anyway, first up, we're going to have one agenda item, SCR 210, requesting Department of Accounting and General Services and Department of Land and Natural Resources work with the city and county of Honolulu to establish a community garden on the east lawn of the state capitol. First up, we have DLNR.
Heather here.
Aloha, Heather McMillan from DLNR. I'm the State Urban and Community Forester. We stand in support of this resolution and also offer comments. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, we have the Department of County and General Services, DAGS.
Jimmy Carrota, Central Services, we offered comment.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have Nancy Redfeather, Hawaii Seed Growers Network, written in support. Brian Miyamoto, Hawaii Farm Bureau, written in support. And we have Lisa Bishop. She has written in opposition. Okay, that's all we have on SCR 210. SR 186. Since SR 186 is a companion, what we're going to do is just call out these testifiers since it's the same thing. And again, we have Keith Regan from DAGS, assuming that standing on comments on the resolution. Yep, okay. And then we have Kelsey Amos, who, for the food policy, they did not submit testimony in the SCR, but they did on this, and they are in support. That's all we have on either the SCR or the SR. Is there anybody in the audience or Zoom land wishing to testify? Seeing none, questions?
Yeah, can we have Dax back up here as well? Yeah. it was interesting. It brings to mind, and I forgot all about the liability concerns that is raised with regards to using properties, particularly in our capital district. Now, what's interesting is the capital district also has, like for this building, we have our own security. And refresh my memory, is the security within the building also includes the security on the grounds as well? I'm not sure.
I think it's separate.
It's separate then?
Right, you're talking about the camera systems versus the guards or something like that?
Yeah, because we're talking about using the grounds, which is on the property of the capital, right? Yeah,
Right. It's separate.
it is separate.
The guards and
So
the
when
camera
you
systems
have,
are separate.
like this private garden, then what happens during the nighttime if the garden is open to the public to use the grounds? I'm just trying to think of, all the issues that comes with,
You'd have to fence it in, for sure.
oh, I don't think we want to fence in because this is the capital district, yeah. Yeah.
Just because of that's what their concerns are like.
Well, I agree, and if we notice that sometimes in the past, well, Senator, what's our former senator, used to be in charge of the KT caucus, Susie Chan Oakland, were very active in using the grounds when we have the KT caucus activity, like a whole day, and they would use the entire yard system. And so.
Well, that's a
the garden-
one-time event, but with a community garden, I mean, most community gardens you see in the mainland, they have some kind of fencing or
Yeah, but you know what?
just
They
to
have,
protect the.
they have a community garden next to the zoo, which is okay, but this is the capital
This is the zoo.
district. This is the capital district is what I'm saying. It's not there's so much liability that comes with it, so,
Those are good concerns.
okay. All right, but anyway, I'm just a little more precious about the district and,
Well, yeah, but I mean, I identify and see these concerns, but I mean, if the committees were to even were to consider it, I mean, it would perhaps be made more global, but are there perhaps state properties or areas where in conjunction with the county, DLNR, you could be doing some kind of community gardening in conjunction with the.
Absolutely. Yeah. The capital is a tough piece of property to do something like this on. So
Yeah, so recognizing that, we just remove those limitations and now it becomes, looking across.
Right, we have more possibilities to consider.
Yeah,
yeah. Like if it was next to, the harbor where there's the park system, or use of parks somewhere else on the state side, but this is, we're talking about state, it's a state resolution, so.
Yeah, but then like, for instance, in, even at Third Elementary, remaining grounds, if it's not used as a school, again, potentially could be along the global aspects.
Yeah, okay. All right, it's just my
Okay,
concern,
no,
Mr. Chair.
I hear you.
It's-
Do you want to go into decision-making or you just want to go?
Mr. Chair, we've got questions on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
side.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I completely ignored this.
I know I was snoring, but
You were sorry. That's why, okay, jump in, Go ahead.
No, that's what
Go
we
ahead, go ahead,
interpreted.
go ahead.
No,
You can
go.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you're the only one who is present to testify, and I do appreciate it. So like in Hilo, there was a Kalo project that basically, they actually planted Kalo and taro on, along downtown, and I think even the county part of the public library. And I believe one of your concerns was security, or it could be DLNR. So basically what happened is you don't see Kalo and taro anymore. People were pulling it up or not maintaining it. So my concern is if we designate a community garden without security, who's gonna maintain it to prevent people from pulling it up? Do you know?
Yeah.
Because, we don't have it
That would be the
anymore.
point of a study, though, to
Right.
assess that. And, you know, it could be DLE, it could be possibly, you know, calcium,
So,
calcium.
no, I understand. So I thought it was a good idea because it was pretty at the time, but then, yeah, 10, 15 years later, you don't see it anymore because no one's maintaining it, right? Okay,
Right.
you don't, okay.
Well, yeah, there's things like memorials on Capitol grounds that now are in distress with the veterans aging out, so that maintenance is now becoming an issue. in that-
Also, oh yeah,
the
like the Korean
Vietnam
War.
That's what I
Memorial,
understand,
so,
yes, sad.
We're doing our best to try to clean it up, keep it as best we can with the grounds
Yeah.
people that we have, so
Okay,
that's
that
the
is a
source
main
of our
concern.
comments.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yank out all the trees, they're making poop all over the memorial, and you'll be okay. Oh, sorry, tree guys out there, I'm gonna bash me. The reason why I bring this up, it's the same liability that we heard about planting trees on the side of the road. There's always a liability when we're gonna plant on state property. But on roadside and state roads and highways, it's different than the capital. The reason why I thought that idea would be great is because we don't need plant taro or ulu, but we can do maybe cucumbers and tomatoes and maybe one banana tree. I see it working Makiki right next to a very, very popular homeless park, and they make it work. So it's just that how much we make it work and what part of the capital you want to do it at, and there's ways of securing it, because it's not like it's a heavy traffic area like one Community Park in Makiki. At nighttime over here is closed, you're gonna have closure hours, you're gonna have signs posted that from 7 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, it's closed. No, don't get me wrong, I mean, I just think it's an idea that we should look into before we scrap them. If that's the case, then we should put in a resolution to get rid of all the trees in the capital, because that's all liability too. One coconut fall on your head, one bean, one bird poop in your eye. I mean, if we can find any reason for not doing any kind of study, and this is one thing that I think is positive. It's more positive than try to plant trees in the middle of Fort Weaver Road. Somebody gonna pick one ulu and get run over. That's different. This capital is not highly used at night. It's not highly used in the daytime unless we have certain events. And I'm pretty sure we can come up with a comprehensive plan to see how the garden grows. And if it doesn't work, guess what? It's just dirt, right? Oh, that's my opinion. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, anybody else? Going once, twice, if not, using the question and answer period to talk with my co-chair on this. What we'd like to do, members, is we'd like to move this resolution along for more consideration. What we want to do, though, addressing the concerns, is to give flexibility to the departments and the communicants in the reso and working together by making it global. So we're just going to remove references to the east lawn of the Capitol from the reso. But in the committee report, we're going to also note that this doesn't mean we're condoning them looking at community gardens and public infrastructure right of ways, which I think is a concern of our good friend from West Lawn. If not, that's the questions or comments on, yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be voting with reservations, noting the concerns from DAGs with liability and other issues. Thank you.
Duly noted. Anybody else on our side? Do we have quorum on our end to do this? We do.
You got quorum?
Yeah, we do. I'm gonna ask my illustrious chair. Okay, we do. All right, with noting that, the recommendation on the
Thank you.
resolution is we pass with a Senate Draft 1. I will vote yes.
Okay. So you want me to take the vote?
Do you mind?
Okay.
With amendments, yeah.
Yes,
So-
with amendments, so Senate Draft 1.
Okay, for SR 186 and SCR 210, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair votes aye. Senator Gabbard is excused. I vote aye. Senator Wakai,
Yes.
Senator Awa is excused. Chair recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you, Government Operations.
Same recommendations to pass with amendments for the Committee on Water and Land. Any discussions? Vice Chair for the vote. Chair goes aye.
Okay, Chair's recommendations to pass with amendments SCR 210 and SR 186. Chair votes aye. Your Vice Chair votes aye with reservation. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Senator McKelvey.
Yes.
Senator Favela.
I with reservations.
Okay, Madam Chair, recommendations adopted.
Thank you very much.
Okay, this concludes the joint hearing.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. The Committees on Water and Land and the Committee on Public Safety and Intergovernmental and Military Affairs is on its hearing notice of Wednesday, March 27th in room 229 at 1:30. And just some housekeeping measures. We certainly would like to let the testifiers know and those on Zoom that if you wouldn't mind standing on your written testimony and limit your oral testimony to a minute. The content of this hearing can be found on the legislature's website. The live video stream and archive of the hearing is on the Senate's YouTube channel, and decision-making will follow this hearing today. We'll proceed with SCR 123 and SR 105. This is requesting the Department of Land and Natural Resources to convene a working group to make recommendations on solutions to reduce wildfire risk and the feasibility of establishing a vegetation management program as it relates to landowners and the public utilities. We do have testimony today from DLNR. Who's representing DLNR? Robert? Aloha.
Aloha, good afternoon, chairs, co-chairs, committee members. I'm Rob Hoff with Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Forestry and Wildlife. And the department supports this resolution, however, notes that this does not come with any resources to run and lead this working group. Currently, we just have one FTE position devoted to the fire program, and that person is stretched across many things, everything from training to maintaining weather stations to applying for federal grants. So I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert, for being here. DCCA.
With you next with the concern that we stand on written comments.
Okay. Thank you. PUC.
Aloha chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee, Kyra Howe, utility analyst at the PUC. We stand on our written testimony, providing comments, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Kyra. Okay. Hawai'i Electric. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, chairs and vice chairs and members of the committee. My name is Wendy Oda, and I'm here on behalf of Hawai'i Electric. We've submitted written testimony, but I'd like to add to my testimony. Sure. Hawai'i Electric understands the community's concerns about wildfire risk and believes the formation of the Vegetation Management Group is a first step in defining property owner obligations to perform vegetation management on both public and private property to address wildfire risk mitigation. Hawai'i Electric understands it is sensitive to major challenges when it comes to vegetation management and landowner compliance, but looks forward to participating in the Vegetation Management Working Group. Hawai'i Electric believes the Vegetation Management Group will consider wildfire mitigation measures, such as regulations related to vegetation management obligations of landowners, as well as practical vegetation management programs for the landowners and public utilities. Additionally, we noticed that Hawaiian Telecom the telecom companies are not included in this, so we would like to ask that they also be included in this particular resolution. Thank you for this opportunity to add to my testimony, and I'm here to take any questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here as well. Okay. IBW Kika. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chair, committee members. Kiko Bukowski on behalf of IBW 1260. We stand on our written testimony in support and just ask for your consideration on our requested amendments to be included as a member of the working group.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jacqueline Ambrose sends communication in support as well. Is there anyone else wishes to speak to SCR 123 and SR 105? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman Inoue, and the distinguished member of the Senate Committee. For the record, my name is Russell Homa with APEC Hawaii. I believe this is a very important issue, and I believe I wrote a newsletter regarding this and forming this strategic kind of committee. And I know that recent with the, even with the Department of Natural Resources, I know that NOAA, the National Oceanic Administration, has recently came on this, I saw it about 2 days ago on the news, on the CBS News, and it said that they're coming up with a predictability kind of software that they're getting all this data collection because they're so concerned about the natural disaster and going out in the world right now, and tsunamis, earthquakes, wildfires, all these natural disasters that's happened. So they can predict with data gathering, and hopefully we can come up with a software program, because I know in the South Pacific and Hawaii, we're very vulnerable in terms of act of God with natural disasters like wild wind. We think the fire that happened in Maui Fire, that's like a wild wind. And I think in terms of, with the climate change issue, everything's shifting, so you do see this natural disaster. So we can't blame on each other's and stuff, that we should move forward with a positive note. So I think that DNR should work with NOAA, and it's a good timing right now to work on the software applications that we can come up with a measure like that. And Manoa can get involved with that, with Manoa Innovation Center. I know that Carol Fukunaga's been one of the times that she's been fighting for in terms of those kind of innovation kind of things. So I think she knows the insight on this kind of stuff.
Thank you.
And thank you for the
your
opportunity.
comments. Thank you very much. Anyone else wishes to speak to SCR 123 and SR 105? Please come forward. Okay, Chair would like to add that follow up with regards to movements of bills as well, that the SB, I think 2842, that both committees have heard with regards to the wildfire mitigation working group still alive, but we need to make sure that the SCR still survives as well. Just a note that I want to add personally, in 2018, I introduced a bill that passed the Senate with regards to the same issue. And reason I introduced that measure was because of our national meetings with our national NCSL group. I was very active with looking at the incidences that occurred at Puerto Rico. And with regards to the task force that I was a member of, already indicated that Hawaii, like Puerto Rico, we're almost the same. We're island states. And so at that time, but unfortunately, it died in the House. And I forgot all about that bill until I got a call from a New York reporter who followed the Lahaina incident and reminded me that he found this bill that would probably have helped Hawaii if we were already in place. So having, the cooperation with the PSM committee as well, the measures are moving. But I certainly would like to, because we're not done yet with our conferencing. So just to keep this measure alive, I'd like to proceed then, if it's okay with PSM, that we move the measure. Is it okay if we, yeah. So any discussions?
Only discussion was are you gonna add telecoms in there?
Yes.
Well, no, the reason why I don't know why they're needed is because there's never been an issue with telecom infrastructure in wildfires. It's always been energized assets, so why would you put them in there?
I think, 1 second, come on now. Thanks, Wendy.
We would want to include them because they are on the poles. And so in cases, they have some responsibility also with regards to maintenance. It's not just, some poles are actually just telecom poles. And so if we're talking about vegetation management and poles and, what can catch fire, that would be
So you got there's mixed poles with both telecom and
Yes.
energized lines on?
And we have, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, well, if that's the case, then obviously.
Yes.
No, we need to get the correct word. I think
I think in the
Hawaiian,
House.
huh?
Yeah, Hawaiian.
Hawaiian Tel, right? Are we talking about the entire
So I
telecom
think
system?
in the, in
What
the.
word
in-
should we use?
In the, I believe in the House bill, there's language with regards to the telecom companies. Because I think the
The
utilities are.
telecom industry
Yeah.
then, okay.
Oh, sorry. It says a representative of the telecommunications
Okay.
carrier, sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
thank you, Wendy. Telecom industry, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we got IBEW, we got CETA. Okay, so we got IBEW, we got CETA and telecom. Yeah. Yeah, okay, is that okay? All right, okay, the committees have conferred, the Joint Committee on Water and Land and Public Safety and Intergovernmental, I would say, and Military Affairs is going into decision-making with regards to SCR 123 and SR 105. Chair's recommendation is to pass with these amendments. We'd like to include the representative from IBEW 1260 in the working group, as well as a representative from CTAR, as well as a representative from the telecom industry. Any discussions with regards to the amendments? Seeing and hearing none, Committee on Water and Land, Chair recommends pass with amendments. Vice Chair for the vote, Chair goes aye.
Okay, Chair's recommendations to pass with amendments SCR 123 and SR 105. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Senator McKelvey.
Yes.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Madam Chair, recommendations adopted. Same recommendation for PSM. Your Vice Chair votes aye, Chair.
I vote yes. Senator Elefante is yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Rhodes. Excuse. Senator Owa. Excuse. Chair, your recommendations adopted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. This concludes, I believe, the joint committee hearing of Water and Land and the Committee on Public Safety and Military Affairs. Thank you.